Blockbuster. This is the groove that demo song you just heard was based on. This right here. Let's play some more. Here's March of the Orcs. Slow it down. Tribute to Aliens. Train Spike. Hi, my name is John Skippy Limcool. Welcome to my new library. This is Percussa, Cinematic Percussion Grooves in Omnisphere 2. You heard correct. I am not joking. A lot of people have said in email, why are you using Omnisphere 2? And I write back and say, because there is nothing else that can do what I am doing in Omnisphere 2. There's nothing else that can play 6 patches with crazy things happening synthesizer parameter wise. This is not just boring samples being played. These are sounds that are created through synthesis. That's the beautiful thing of this library, is that it's not just samples. It's in this form where you can go in and manipulate this in cool ways. It's been out for a week. People are freaking out. The people that have bought it have been just sending me this most nice comments about how awesome and flexible and fun this is to work with. And I waited a week to do this video because I just got done making kits of everything. So that not only do you have the groove, but right next to it is a kit. So you can do any groove you want. And on top of that, I have 6 sounds here. Well, this doesn't even go as far as I want to go. I want to show you something really cool. There's so many of these that are really fun. Let me show you with this one. Here's Happy Orbit Fairies. I love William Orbits. This kind of has a bit of a retro vibe. I even have a synth bass on this. Most of the library doesn't have synth parts, but this one I did because I just really love the... With a mod wheel, check this out. So the bass goes away. This really cool chord part happens. So this one sound, just one patch is doing all of this. And if you go look at this sound and go to look at the effects, there's this resonator effect. It's in Omnisphere 2. It's a new added effect. Without this effect, it's a single tabla sample. But because of this effect, it's 4 separate chordal little pitches that can be a chord, and they have all sorts of cool chord presets you could call up over here. But I have it set to a chord, and then I have a really cool thing happening over here on mod 4. It's changing the pitch of just one part. So that kind of power, there's just no place else I could go to have a synthesizer, because I love synthesis. I want it to just be more than just samples. I want it to be far more flexible, creative, interactive in real time, and be able to be used in cool ways. So I have saved every single patch that's being used to make these 47 multis out as a BPM patch right here. See all these? All the BPM, and I've assigned them to either be low, mid, or high for the energy content. And we'll look at those later. We'll look at the patches for a minute. I'm not going to go through all. There's over 718 patches now. So I'm not going to sit and play 718 patches, I promise you. But I want to show you all the multis and give you a good taste of this. But because every one of these elements are saved out as a separate patch, the use in different musical genres is huge and new. There's all sorts of things you can put behind existing styles of music to make it different. Anyway, so this library is created by my website, pluginguru.com. Please come here. There's the new library. It's actually bigger than this now because it's now, I think it was at 48. I think it's at 50 multis now. It's 718 patches. All these different libraries for all these different products are available. I thank you so much for your support. It's awesome to do this full-time as my occupation. It's a joy. So I want to show you the library. Now, the demo you heard at the beginning, I'm going to play a second more of it, and I can show you also a screen grab of how it was used. So Bob Dedes did this track for Manfighter Music. It's his own music licensing company. He does the demos for me. I pay him to do the demo, and then he turns it into part of his music library so it gets used in other places. It's really cool. It's a cool system. But this demo, let's watch. So here's the big drums. So here's where we start the groove. Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And tribute to Batman coming up. All right, here's a break. So you see he bounced a whole lot of the parts out as audio. It's really about the easiest way to work with something as complex as this is to get groove ideas out, spit them out, combine them, mix and match. The naked version, that's all Percussa. The main groove, if you're curious, is coming from a multi called Guardians of the Mini Market that Airwave created for the library. And you don't hear it when you first call it up. It's really cool. But you move the mod wheel. So those were the parts that ended up being used as the main of the groove. But they're hidden behind a halftime groove when the mod wheel's down. Now if we were to initialize and just go initialize multi, go to the patches, go to the BPM low, to the tomonizers, show me market. So you hear all that cool stuff happening in there. That's because of the synth engine enhancing samples and doing all sorts of cool things that couldn't happen if this was just, you can't do that in Kontakt 5. You can't do that in anything else that I'm aware of today other than Omnisphere. So that's the power that we have to play with. And so Airwave, ExoSun, and myself played with this folder with almost 400 samples. We played with those, and this is what we came up with. And it's really awesome. So let's get started. I'm going to start at 100 beats per minute. The tempo range is 100 to 170. Be aware, the awesome thing with this is that it's arpeggiator based. It's not sample based like a phrase. Most of these libraries that you buy that have the cool phrases, they fall apart after a certain bit, and it's hard to smoothly change tempo. Here, I could speed this up. I took out the bass part. fine at 170 and sounds great. There's 170. Mod wheel up. So there's so much stuff to do. And then the kit. The reason I'm delaying this, like I said, is because these kits. And if you want this to be in a different key for your song, go to part 4. Let's tune this other two. Tune it. It's easy to do. All right, Shadow of Death. This is a fun one. 100 beats per minute. So let's slow it down. 100. I love this groove. This is inspired by a track from a Advanced Warfare game. Toms are hiding on the mod wheel. There's a couple other cool things that are tricky in here. For one thing, the arpeggio likes to keep hanging on the notes. This kick drum. So if I was to mute this envelope, mute, I lost all my coolness. My mojo's gone, man. It's because this is a super snappy little pitchy G, right? The depth is at 0, and I've assigned it to velocity. And then in my arpeggiator, my velocities here control the snap. So if I want more snap, or if I don't want snap. Okay. The other cool thing that's happening in this patch, there's ultimate coolness. This has a delay, and I've configured it to be post and turned on the feedback tone, and then the emphasis brings back the feedback. And the higher I bring this, it'll feedback all the time, but I didn't want it to feedback all the time. I did not. So I have an LFO changing that emphasis. When it's up, it's making it feedback. When it goes down, it stops. See that? Isn't that cool? So there's all these types of tricks in Omnisphere that make anything else on the planet to do this impossible. There's nothing else I could go to where I could go, I want to have a drum pattern played, a snappy envelope controlling the brightness from the pitchy G, and I want an arpeggiator that's changing that by velocity, and I want it also to go through a delay where an LFO is changing the feedback and it's doing a tape delay feed. There's nowhere else you could do this. So the kit version. Off you go. Sword of Samba. Howard Jones tribute. but it's on the keyboard. I can choose what key I want, and I'm in the key of F. If I turn this up. It's in tune. So these are all the reasons why this is just a really fun place to play. Here's the elements pulled out. You can do any style of music you want. Use the MIDI files that are inside of Super Macho Drums. Just remap them in your set. Layer the Super Macho Drums kit with some sort of cool effect from here, and you have something you've never heard before. It's really cool. Mod wheel, here we go. Oh. Little breakdown. Okay, and then the kit. I get so excited with this stuff. It's crazy. So here's Waiting for the Moment. I'm waiting. And this is one where there's a bass. This is one of the 2 or 3 that have chord parts. You can play chords. Because the mod wheel I just love that effect. Third World Marketplace is the other one that has. If you take this part out, got a cool groove. It's nice. Cinematic Transfer by Airwave. Speed it up. So we did more than just cinematic. Fireball Roundup. I started this on YouTube. Fireball Roundup started as a video here. So here's the final version. And this is using some cool tricks. This part right here, part 3, it has these cool effects. They kind of are gone, and then they show up. That's because I have this mod on. Changing all sorts of parameters in the effects. It's changing the toxic, the reduce, changing that. It's also changing this send, which is being sent into a huge delay, into reverb with EQ kind of a thing, which makes it keep going over the top of itself. The auxiliary bus is fun for that. So this is being assigned to this mod envelope. Like, watch this slider here. This is what it's doing. 0, dry, and starts to come up. Come up more. And as soon as it hits back to 1, it's gone. But you hear the effect trail. And these parts, these shaker parts are controlled by MIDI files that came from Stylus RMX. So it has a really cool feel. It's not, here's your straight sequencer feel if we were to go over here and There's back to arpeggiator. Very boring, but by using MIDI files from Stylus RMX, I got these shaker parts to have a really cool human. We showed this earlier, Happy Orbit Fairies, key of F. Fairies in F is the trick. You can play other notes, but it's all F chord. So fun. Some are not. Is the medicine taking effect yet? Your eyes are getting heavy. Go to sleep. And the kit for this is really cool for See, it's not just a boring sample. None of this library is boring. It's all alive with synthesis. It's just this thriving, living. Each sound has life. Or maybe not if it's for horror. Which we will see in the next one. So Xenomorph, I just did this today. This is using the radical samples that were created by Robert Dudzik. He's going to work with me for volume 2 of this library later this year. I want to show it to you as a kit, because you got to hear this one sound. Oh, we'll show it this way. Call this up. But listen to this one sound right here. This is just, I love this. That's a sub hit. Huge. If you're playing this on small speakers, you're not going to hear it. So if it's anything less than it's like 6.5, 8-inch speaker, you will not hear the magic of that sound. But when you combine it with everything else, oh, excuse me. Yeah, there's a lot going on. You ready? Hiding gong. This is for that time where like she's walking down the corridors or they're looking at the little radar machine and I don't see them, man. I don't see any aliens anywhere. Where are they? 5 meters. And then they fall through the roof. So listen to this. You got to hear each of these patches. This is really fun. I was trying some different things. So here's the boom. It's one patch. Doing all of that. It's insane. Then this is the thumper patch, which hello? Anybody home? Then I took a dubstep snare and I tuned it up and put it through some effects to give it this cool not your happy dubstep moment, but still cool. And then 16th Notes. This actually part 4 is one of the hits from the library, one of the bass drums, but it's tuned up so high, it's tuned up almost 3 octaves. We took it down and turn off the low pass filter. There. I'm just mangling the daylights out of it. So check out what's happening in this patch. This is really cool. If we go over here, I have the chorus echo with the delay time being changed by an LFO so that it's doing this chaos, right? All right, we got to keep moving. And the last sound was the sub. Cool, huge sound. Okay, so all together. Okay, here's Brussels subway from Airwave. He lives in Brussels. He would know what the subway sounds like. The train. And the kids there, Go Blame Yourself. Off to War We Go. Really happy, cheery stuff here. This one's fun. There's a synth element in here. Can you hear it? Hear that? In the mod wheel, it goes up in pitch and becomes this really cool, like, well, you'll see. So it went from a bass. Again. The power. It's so fun. Here's Black Magic Bank Heist. And that big boom has the pitch assigned to the mod wheel, so you hit it and then move the mod wheel. Do all sorts of fun stuff like that. Going for noise. This is insane. This is one of Airwave's. A lot of the patches are just noise oscillator. So that's just 3 patches of the 6 in this multi. And again, they're all saved out, named, organized. Off we go. So that's going for noise. Let's get back here to, we're up here. We got a long ways to go. How much time you got, right? Hang on, here we go. Here's Hot Jungle Tom Chase. There's this radical crazy drummer banging on toms that you don't hear till you move the mod wheel. Fun. Here's Jungle Run on Trappist 1. Big future jungle run scene. Another planet. And again, the kit. Cop the kit. All the that's 2 patches. Very fun to play with. New Detroit on Trappist 1. This has a chord element. Fun stuff. Dead Will Dance. There's 2 versions. First version has a pad element chord thing. Mod wheel. Drains it out, makes the pad become solid, not pulsing. And then version 2 is this big remix version. I just wanted to no pad part, but I want to be more aggressive. And the module brings in claps. Okay, here's A Million Lies. And we're at 145, so I gotta speed up a little bit. Ooh, you lied. Dark Waters. Here's an exosound patch. More sci-fi. Manhunt in the Cave. I love the upbeat. Rolling Triplets. Rotterdam Triplets. Here's a cheer one. They catch you, they kill you. You know, you gotta have that escape moment where everybody gets away and like you can't find that person, right? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? There he is. So bring the mod wheel up. Dark Space. Ooh. Dudley at night. Dudley Forest is one of those places in Africa and Namibia I will go someday. It's on my bucket list to do photography. That'd be awesome. So this daytime, sun starts to go down. And these fairies come out of the trees. Fun. And the Klingons are fighting each other. Wait, that's Captain Kirk. What's he doing fighting? Spock! Hyperdrive cooldown. Looking for lunch. Oh, this is cool. This is Morph with a mod wheel. Losing blood quickly, not a good scenario, but in film it happens, right? March of the Orcs. I was in Oceanside with my daughter and her best friends and friends. They were playing around. And I'm sitting there at this little table with my headphones and my MacBook, looking at this beautiful ocean scene, sea stacks, all this beautiful stuff, imagining orcs killing humans. And this right here, that's a tribute to all the Aliens films, especially Aliens, with the tonk, the train being hit with a hammer. So you can call that up when you want. Painful Wait. All right. Selectronics. Turbo Kid. Very cool. Dance with a Half Pipe. This is like on the half pipe snowboarding, right? And this kit's cool because it's ride cymbal. It's being fed into wah, then into delay. So again, these are not just samples. There's a lot going on to that. To that. It's really fun. Fun stuff. Dehumanizer. Oh, this is cool. If my computer can handle it, it's right on the limits. When you bring the mod wheel up, you get this like human qualities to it. It's really cool. This is using inner space into the resonators. And part 2 is being controlled by mod envelope 1. So if we go over here and look at mod envelope 1, turn to snap. You can change it to be whatever chords you want. It's very cool. Here's the lab is exploding. Here's Cannibal Pursuit. So it takes 2 different booms, and this is using different pitch transposing to get the tom melody. Here's gene generation. Oh, computer just went, wait a minute. Cool. Here's Guardians of the Mini Market. So you don't have that big tom fill thing until you bring the mod wheel up. Angry War Machines. I gotta speed it up. It's 170. Okay, Pipes and Corridors. Okay, so that's the multis and the kits. Below that are two templates I've created using the live mode of Stylus RMX. It's a mode that's really cool and useful. You need to spend a little time playing with it. Go over to live. You want to turn on the latch button so you can see what parts are set to latch. And you can see right here the trigger. So there's two things you can set up, triggers and latch. Trigger says it doesn't play immediately, it plays so that everybody plays to a clock. So that way you can play parts and it will stay in sync. So I can play this. So it's playing that part. I can switch to another part since latch is on and add it. Let's add the shakers. Now, this part's set to latch, but I could turn it off, so it's set to immediate. I could go to any place in any of my other libraries, patch-wise. Part 1. Let's go to Omniverse 2. I got some nice pianos over here. Or I could go to Omnipulse. In fact, let's go over here to a pad. Go over here to the mixer. Turn that down, go to live and hit latch. So now it's latched. So you can build and jam with yourself in real cool ways. And when you're ready to stop everybody, you just hit the stop button right here. And it stops them. I don't know why it didn't stop my cord, but so you can jam, you can have, it's really fun to use. So there's two live templates. The jam right there is just like 100, 120 beats per minute is fine. The war one is a faster template. So this is more for the, it's one of these things also, just so you know, when it's in latch mode, this is how I got the drum machine mode to work in OMG drums. Because you play a note once, play that same note again, and it unlatches it. It's one of the cool abilities of this. So hit that one again and it's gone. So you can build these and play with these in jam. So live mode, there's a couple different templates to try. If you haven't tried live mode, these will get you going down that road. It's awful fun to be able to set up and play something, lock it, go to another part, play something, build up. You can do some really cool things with that. It's very fun. So let me show you quickie patches just for a minute. There's so many, I'm not gonna go through all of them, but let me show you the basic layout and the idea behind them. The reason there's 700 patches, the rule is this: when you're building a library in Omnisphere 2, and you have samples, and you want to make sure all of those samples are included when you spit out as a shared or as a library, you have to have a patch or a multi pointing and using that sample. And then it will make sure it gets put into this folder, the .omnisphere file. But if you don't have a patch or you don't have a multi that's pointing to a sample, when you build the .omnisphere file, it doesn't include it. So I wanted to make sure all of the samples that I used were available for you to choose from and change, because it's very easy and very fun to go to any of these and change the samples. You've got this groove going. Try one of the other big booms. Try another one of the toms. There's all sorts of sounds to play with. Shaker things. There's all sorts of hi-hat-ish. So I'll show you those real quickly. So bass drums, these are just samples. Right? Some are bigger. I didn't really try to go for a genre specific. Exosun made a really cool bass drum in Kick 2. Here's the Percussa boomers. Some of these are like 30 years old. Like that. These are from a Korg M1 that did a really weird thing. When I worked in Los Angeles at the Korg offices, this M1 just showed up with this really cool sound, and I think it's like an Alesis reverb unit. Just ran everything through that, and I played every sound that it made, because it made some cool ones. Airwave made some really cool, the AWs. These are synthesis. There's no samples of acoustics in the Airwave. They're all using Zebra 2 with the filter, the Hans Zimmer filter, that kind of stuff. Then the Radical are the Robert Dudzik real instruments, real dropping cars. Here, I showed these in a live stream, but look at these pictures for a second. These are some of the things Robert has done to create some of the sounds that are in these samples. And then these subs, be careful. These subs are serious frequency content. I mean, these are incredible. So this guy does all the he does so many trailers. Here's a list of just some of the trailers. A lot of these use my sounds. It's an honor. He buys the libraries from me. He's killer customer and partner for future stuff we're going to work on together. So listen to that. Just crazy. So BPM right here is where we start all of the patches that are in all of the multis. And you'll see it's high. Mostly cymbals, some wood. You want to maybe be on the ARP page so you can see these, because some of these don't happen right on the downbeats. Some do. Now, for example, this one, simple, it's just one sample. So I could go over here, hit the folder first, I recommend, and choose the library. So that way it doesn't cycle and all of a sudden start playing other libraries. But now you can go through this. Through all the samples that are in this library. And you'll get all sorts of cool. They all have the modulation wheel assignments that were in the multis attached to the patches. So everything does something interesting with the multis. If you want, let me show you real quickly the samples. If you hit the samples button right here, you go to the samples area in Omnisphere. This is where you choose the waveform. If it's not a synthesizer waveform, this is where you choose the actual samples. And as you can see, here's all the percussa. There's 438 samples. Bass drums, cymbals, these are rides, crashes, gongs, stuff. Stingers, these are some of the sounds from the 30-year-old session with the Korg synth and all sorts of other things. Airwave made some stingers. Hi-hats, these are hi-hat-ish. So they're like wood clicks, and I recorded bongos with blast sticks. All sorts of stuff. Okay. Melodic. Then you have the metallic-ish. And it says RCH because I was originally going to call this Run, Chase, Hide. I decided to rename it to Percussa. I like that better. So woody-ish, metal-ish. Still going down the list. There's Radical for the snare drum. These are filtered in a funny way so they don't sound like they will later. Snare-ish. And then Real is like drill. I'll show you those when we get to the patches. And then toms. So there's all of those samples being used in all of these patches. There's 700 patches to play through. So the high, then we go to mid. There's the toms that are hiding and you move the mod wheel. I have them starting high in pitch and then the mod wheel brings them down in pitch. Okay. Race cars here. This is one where you gotta look at the art because it's a long time wait. Then it starts and it does some really cool stuff. Long reverb with high pass filtering and stuff like that. Again, this is not just samples. I hope you get this. Okay, so the mid and then the low. Let's go up to the low so you can hear some low stuff. There's so much to choose from. You can mix and match. Right? So if I wanted to, I could go over to multi. If you wanted to build your own groove, go to multi-mode, go to stack and turn on stack. And that immediately makes the first 4 available to layer without needing to set up MIDI channels or anything. Hit the button for part 2, go to BPM, and since that's kind of a low, let's go to mid. Let's go to part 3 and let's have it do some sort of high energy. So let's say, and part 4, let's have it do another high energy so we have something. And then play with your mix because the mix doesn't sound quite right like this. Maybe I want something different that's not so busy for the low, so. Cool. So you get the idea. It's mix and match to make grooves. Put that behind a dubstep groove. It's really, really fun. Very effective. So there's all of these mid, high, and low groove elements to work with. After that, we go back to just samples, one-hit samples of all the other categories. Let me show you those real quick. So high, low, mid, and then we get to the cymbals. Here's your hi-hat-ish. These all have a default arpeggiator pattern you can turn on. And if you have OMG drums, you can go to the hi-hat patterns and there's all of these. I will probably pull out all of these patterns and make them available as a bonus for Percussa. I just haven't done it yet because that's an awful lot of work, but we will do that. Okay, so there's hi-hat-ish, here's the hits. Then hit samples. The melodic stuff. Here's your metallic-ish. Now, if it says tuned when you come to these, that means that I tuned it to key. I also hid an Easter egg on every one of these that say tuned, where there's a sine wave tuned. So you can now go through all the different waveforms. You can change this to sample and choose it to be any of the samples in the Omnisphere library or any of my libraries. And that allows you to do these really cool some of these that have more of a woody, the woodyish, like this. Adding the sine wave to this is just awesome. And again, now go find a waveform that kind of has that kind of cool digital, maybe an edgy sound. Maybe turn on harmonia. Turn on the filter. Make it snappier. And you're rolling just like that. Isn't that cool? Again, turn on layer B, and you have a cool synth sound. And then down towards the end here, you get to the tuned effects. Here's the tuned snares. Some snares are tuned. Okay, so here's all the snares. Then the radical, these are the radical ones from Robert Dudzik. Just huge. Single sample, that's a lot. Then the special effects, here's the drills. Down. Stingers. And again, if it says tuned, turn on layer B. So it's in tune for you to start working with. Okay? Textures are these big noises, and they're looped actually. Cool, huh? Toms. And that's Percussa. So it's an awful lot of cool, fun, really interesting. To me, it was really fun to do this because the power of Omnisphere is the synth engine. It's so flexible. You can go, what if I want to do this? You can do it. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of the adventure that is Plugin Guru. It's great to have you along. And I hope you enjoy this, and we'll be seeing you in the next video soon. Okay? See ya.